There we go. Yay!
Hi, Keith.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh my goodness. I cannot even tell you the stress that goes around with these like
I
live
know,
feeds,
right?
right?
I panic every single time. Well,
I was
I
totally
want,
like, please, what do I push? Who do I do? Anyway,
I
sorry.
know. It happens every time, but fortunately tonight I don't think I'm going to have any cats and heat meowing in the background. But I want to welcome everybody to Modern Luxury Weddings South Florida Wed Talk Live. We
Yay.
We meet every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock to chat it up with some of South Florida's greatest talent.
Oh,
So
that's
if
so
you're
nice.
recently engaged or you know somebody who's recently engaged, make sure you follow us and encourage your friends who are recently engaged to follow us so you guys can be up to date and meet all of the fabulous South Florida weddings community. So
Love it.
tonight we have not only Keith Willard from Keith Willard Events, but we have a birthday boy. It is actually Keith's birthday, and
Yep.
I'm really honored that you chose
Oh,
to spend your birthday with Modern Luxury and our digital audience. So happy
well,
birthday.
thank you so much. And actually, I chose it to spend it with you. And Modern Luxury is a lovely addition to the trip. So obviously
Oh,
I'm here. I'm actually here in Orlando. If you can't tell, I'm at a Disney hotel. So
yeah, we never would have guessed from unless you're just really into Minnie Mouse. I mean, I wasn't going to
right?
ask any questions,
I'm
but
like,
hey.
it's a bar mitzvah. This is a bar mitzvah. We're getting ready
Yeah.
for a bar mitzvah. No, anyway.
So I'm really super excited. Hey, Marcy, I'm really super excited to, get down and dirty with you tonight because I know, I feel like I say this every week, but I really feel
Yes,
this way. You're, one of my favorites. I love our community
I do
of
too.
not only planners, but industry elites.
Right.
Pleasure of getting to know you all so well that I can call you a friend.
I
Um,
know, and I do. I just adore you. I just adore you. So I just and this you make such a difference to our South Florida community. You really do. It's
oh,
incredible.
quit. It
I
never gets old. No, I'm teasing. So where do I start with you? Let's talk about,
swear.
let's talk
Yeah.
about number one, how you've been doing during COVID and all this madness and how your
Yeah.
clients are doing. And
Well, I mean, I think that I'm gonna say for most people is all of us went through this massive deep depression when this first happened because obviously March 13th was it, and all of a sudden everything dried up like crazy. And then there came that moment of like we got busy because we were then moving all the weddings. We were like, okay, we're every day on the phone, renegotiating contracts, making sure people didn't have, those change date fees, all those things that go into being a planner. And one of the reasons that I think it's such a big deal for people to have planners is because of things like this. And then so we were so busy. And then there was that moment that things got quiet. And this is after, we've moved everything, we've calmed all of our brides down. We've made sure that the dream is still alive. And then when it got quiet, that's when it got scary for me. And I was like, what do I do with myself? What do I do with this time? Because as planners, we're super creative. We're always on the go. We love talking to people. We love being around people. And then when you take that resource away, all of a sudden we're like,
what do you do?
what do we do? And so, I went to the fridge. Just say.
I went to the bar, you went to the fridge.
Exactly. And I mean, I seriously, I gained a good 30 pounds. I've since lost it. Thank you, Noom. Little shameless plug there. But I since lost it because I realized that, I had to be back in front of people again. We're starting to plan weddings again. I did one in Connecticut. I just did another one in New York. And now I've got a 30-person wedding, in Boca on the 30th. And so we have to be back in front of people. And I need to feel comfortable in my own skin before I can make sure everybody else is having a really good time. So,
I think we've all gotten real comfy dressing from the waist up.
Yes.
And, you know, I get it, but I'm glad that you're, you know, presentable again.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
Well,
glad
not
that
from the
you're
waist
ready to
down.
be customer facing.
just, I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, from the waist
So
down, I've got pajamas on.
I feel like everybody out there can probably relate to that. And I know it's been up and down for all of us and
Yeah.
for our engaged couples as well. We've gotten tons of, you know, comments and questions from the very beginning once we all went into lockdown from engaged couples wanting to know what to do and where to go and what to turn, and they couldn't get a hold of their
Yeah.
contact at the venue. And I really think, I've said this from the very beginning, I think that is truly job security for wedding planners. I
Right.
feel like I don't know how anybody can plan a wedding without a wedding planner.
Right.
And fortunately, I don't know what I would do if I would have to pick between you and all the other amazing wedding planners that we have in this community and narrow it down. So how do you differentiate yourselves? You know who your competition is. We're all friends. How
Right.
do you pitch, you know, how do you pitch the business when you're talking to a client and you know who you're up against?
Well, you know, I first of all, I never assume that I'm up against anybody. I feel like that's undue stress when it comes to trying to secure a job. I've always said this, I'm a great fit for a lot of people, but I'm not a great fit for everybody. And my superpower is bringing the joy back into planning. I absolutely love everything that I do, and I feel like that joy exudes itself into my clients, because then they start going, oh, great. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. There is joy. There is happiness. And even when we had to move these weddings, you know, I wanted to make sure that my clients stayed in that happy place, because honestly, what could be better than two people sharing their love with their close friends and family? There's nothing better. And so when I start thinking about, like, what do I provide that other people, you know, don't or can't provide, or I provide better, I don't think in that direction. Because there's so many great people here in South Florida, and one of the things I can say is that when this pandemic struck, the one thing, and I'm gonna get a little teary here, the one thing I really loved about our South Florida community is everybody banded together. So it didn't matter if we had been competing for the same client. If something came up, I could call Lisa Pierce, I could call Jamie Littman, I could call, you know, all of these incredible planners and say, I need this, or they would call me and say, do you know somebody at the Conrad? Do you know somebody? Who can I talk to? And I loved that. I love that about our community.
Yeah.
You know, and so what do I know that I do well? I know that I do great logistics. I know that I make sure that people don't have stress in their life when it comes to planning. I'm always accessible. I think that that's like the number one no-no, according to all of these, you know, certifications that I've gone through, is that they're like, oh, you need to have office hours. I don't believe in office hours. I don't believe in office hours. I have brides that are like super excited and they want to text me at 11 o'clock at night, and damn it, go ahead and text me, you know, because I'm probably just as excited about your wedding as you are, to be honest. And so I love all that. I live for that. And
I don't
you
think
know,
there's too many planners that have the luxury of office hours. I mean,
right?
let's face it, you know, when somebody's calling at 11 o'clock at night because they had a conversation with their mother-in-law and she wants to, you need to be there to diffuse and manage that situation. So yeah, I'm right there with you. And so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
The clients that are brand new inquiries that are coming to you, you're booking their weddings. How does the experience look different? They're smaller, they're micro weddings, obviously. Yeah. These are the people that don't want to push and wait for COVID. They're willing to do all of the social distancing, abide by the social distancing guidelines.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
They're still the budgets are still pretty much the same? Are you seeing a reduced budget? What are you hearing from the brides?
Well,
And
so here's the thing, is that everybody has a unique situation. There's not a one size fit all with any of these weddings, because not only are our brides very different, but the wedding itself takes on a life of its own. You know, there's a personality to these weddings that is very different from all the others. And so to say, in generalities, a bride is either going to say, look, I really want to do my wedding, or I need to wait. They're going to fall in two buckets. Now, lately, there's been a third bucket. There has been a third bucket that said, you know what, I want to get married on my day, but I want to do the celebration later on. And that seems to become like a bigger and bigger part of like the wedding planning world, is that they're going to do a small wedding for 10, 12 people. Typically the family, mother-in-laws and mothers and brothers and sisters. And then, in a year's time, in 6 months' time, we're going to do the bigger celebration, and we're going to bring everybody together. And one of the things that I want to just kind of put out there for brides that may be listening is that don't worry about the effect not being the same when it comes to, already being married and then doing a ceremony again. When you do that ceremony for the larger group, the emotion, the love, the joy, it's all going to still be there. And sometimes it's going to be even more so, because it means more that everybody was finally able to get together. So push that out of your head and really start thinking about, share the joy. There is no bank account when it comes to love and joy. There's just not. You can't run a deficit on love and joy. It's always going to be full. And so write those checks, and put that out there, and put that joy out there, because no matter what you do, as long as you are love what, your family, love your fiance, love your new husband, love your new girl, your new wife, depending on when the celebration, you're going to have the most amazing time. There's not going to be, oh, this is plan A and now we're doing B. There's no such thing. It's plan A and then plan A. It's diamond and then diamond.
Yeah, COVID gave a whole new meaning to plan B, right?
Yeah, it really did.
Are you running into conflicts with your normal team of vendors? Are you having to kind of go outside of your normal, we all had 3 or 4 vendors in each category that we would deal with for the most part. Are you finding that you're having to open up your circle of your team a little bit, and because of scheduling conflicts?
Well, and that kind of goes with the idea that, there's no real bank account when it comes to love and joy. The same thing comes to, when you're looking at alternate dates. If you're looking at a Friday, let's say that you're in a Saturday. Let's say that you booked a fabulous 5-star resort on a Saturday in August. And now that's been moved, and you have to look at a spring date, right? And so you're saying February, March. As a previous director of catering, I know that the budgets are very different from a summer to spring when it comes to hotels. And so I tell my couples all the time, I'm like, look, think about a Friday or a Sunday, because you're not going to have to worry about the increase in your minimum, because now it's a different season and a different date. And it's more likely that you're going to be able to find the florist, the photographer, and everybody that you've already been dealing with that can be a part of it. The second thing I would recommend for people to do is pick 3 dates, right? A Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, and not in order, right? In other words, May 4th, May 12th, May 22nd. And I'm just pulling those out of the air. So if you're looking at a calendar, please don't. Anyway, so, don't hold me to that. But pick 3 dates, and then do a group email that includes all of your vendors. Blind carbon copy, please. BCC, please. And send a standardized email to all of them and say, unfortunately, we're having to move the wedding due to COVID. Everybody already knows. You don't have to go into that background story, because everybody already knows why you're having to move it. And then say, these are the 3 dates that the venue has available. Can you please respond with just a simple yes or no next to the 3 dates? And then you take those 3 dates, you put it into a spreadsheet, and then you see where's the most common denominator. Because at the end of the day, if your wedding's on a Friday or a Sunday or a Saturday, nobody's gonna care as far as your guest. They're still gonna get to have that good time. What's really gonna make the difference is those vendors that you fell in love with. Are they still going to get to be your team? And you want them to be. I mean, you went through the whole process, interviewing and figuring it out. So you really want to do everything you can to try to keep that team together. And that would be my suggestion.
I feel like, too, again, this is another great reason to have a wedding planner.
Yes.
We have so many vendors down here and so much talent to choose from, but
yeah.
I think a lot of times, especially right now, while so many people are out of work, I mean, even our luxury brides and grooms, everybody is looking at the cost. And when you don't have a planner, I feel like you tend to look a little, you shave corners that you shouldn't shave. And when you work with a planner, you know the vendors out there, you know which ones are reliable, you know what clauses to look for in their contracts. So again, job security, just get a planner
100%.
and you don't have to deal with any of that.
Well, and I say this a lot, is that you're not paying for the 3 minutes that I'm paying me for the 30 years that taught me how to get it done in 3 minutes. So you're paying for that experience, right? You're paying for that ability to reach out to a million different people and know where they're going to land as far as their style, as far as their budget, as far as like all these other factors that go into. So a great wedding planner, and luckily we do. We have a lot of really great wedding planners here in South Florida. A really great wedding planner is going to listen to you first. They're going to go through the whole process and they want to hear everything. I want to hear everything. I want to hear about the crazy Uncle Eddie. I want to hear about the aunt that has a drinking problem. I want to hear it all, right? I want to hear all of it.
To sit next to.
Exactly. I want to hear all of it because then I can then look, quickly go through all of my vendors and figure out where your budget is and what, I don't want to show you like a wedding dress. I don't want to show you a wedding dress that is $10,000 more than your budget. And then you fall in love with it, and then you're sad because it doesn't fit in your budget. How sad would that be? I don't want to show you a florist that you're like, oh my God, I really love it. But they are on the upper end of cost when it comes to that. So again, as a planner, my job is to focus all that down, bring it down to a workable solution, which is why I think a lot of my clients are doctors and lawyers because or people in getting their doctorate or getting their medical degree because they don't have a lot of time. And so they really want somebody to be able to say, here's A, B, C. The other thing is that a lot of planners get a discount when it comes to, because, we're like a BJ's or a Costco. I know that's weird to talk about, but work with me. So I buy a lot. I'm with those same vendors multiple times, and it's not just weddings. I'm doing corporate events. I'm doing bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs. And so those vendors really want to stay kind of on the good side of the planners. Right. And so they're going to give us a better price point than they're going to give you, 100%. Which means, right? And so you may pay an extra 10 or 20% because you're a one-off. And to be honest, you're not a sure thing. You're a single bride that's out there on their own, and you don't know if all of a sudden, I don't know this bride's personality, but a planner, they know them. They know that if a bride has taken the time to hire this planner, that there's some security that comes with that. And so for that security, they give you the discount. So basically, security is money at the end of the day.
Well, and I'm really glad that you brought that up because I don't think that is something a lot of newly engaged people realize. I remember when I was a planner and I would go over my rates. You literally can pay for the cost of a
100%
very good planner with just the money that you will save in that contract negotiation stage. And people, I guess brides or grooms, couples, this is their first time. They're always very leery of that, but that is so true.
Well, and that's true. And honestly, to be honest, a typical planner will at least pay for half of their cost, if not all of it, depending on, how large the wedding is and how many different vendors are involved. But I guarantee you that at least 50% of the cost of what the event planner cost is going to be covered by the savings. I haven't had anything go less than 50% when it came to savings. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Well, I think we just cleared it up.
Yay!
So tell me, what are you seeing as far, I know you came from the Ritz-Carlton, so you're used to these big mammoth weddings. Are you still seeing brides that are your new inquiries? Are they more open to those traditional Ritz-Carltons, W's, the indoor big venues that everybody wants to get married at? Or are you still seeing, is there still a big request for those smaller, more intimate venues that you traditionally wouldn't suggest?
You know, that's also an interesting question, because again, I think it comes down to the individual. There's not a tidal wave that's happening when it comes to one thing or the other. I think that, you know, if people are thinking 2021, 2022 out, yes, we're still talking about those big weddings. We're still talking about the 100, 150, 200 people wedding. But I think what's happening now, and I think this is still needing to be digested by a lot of people, is not only have we gotten into a situation where you don't have to invite everybody because of COVID and because it's become a bigger thing to invite people into your home, into your house, into your life. It's also that the people that you invite have an excuse not to come. Because before it used to be, oh, I worked for them, or I went to their sister's wedding, or they came to my wedding. So there was an obligation that came with, oh, I have to go to that wedding. Well, COVID erased that. It completely erased that. So what you're seeing is, not only do I think that brides need to be able to be a little bit more careful about the people that they choose, because you really want to make sure that in 10 years' time, you look back and you actually are happy that everybody came to your wedding. And we're talking 10 years down the road. And on the other side, you're going to have a smaller turnout when it comes to your wedding. And, you know, there's that A and B list that everybody talks about, which we can talk about in a little bit also, because there's a little piece there. But you're gonna find more and more that people say no. You know, I can't come to your wedding because I have a elderly grandparent that's living with us and that has some issues. I have, you know, my child has asthma, and so I think it's both sides are sooner or later going to come to the middle here, and you're going to have, you know, the bride that says, look, we really need to invite the people that are truly close to us, that we really want to make an experience for them that they remember for the rest of their life. And then you also have the other side that, you know, the third, fourth cousins, the work associate that says, you know, thank you for the invite, but unfortunately I can't come. And sooner or later that's going to work itself out. And so I think that you're going to find that weddings, on average, end up being about 30% less in counts on the whole.
Got it.
But it doesn't mean big weddings won't happen. I'm just saying that in general, you're probably going to see about a 30% drop over the next year.
Yeah. So let me think of a really good question to trip you up on. You know, I like to do this. Okay, so you've been working with the bride for a year. She's made it crystal clear she does not want kids at her wedding. No kids at her wedding. Yep. So she has, you know, used the correct wording on her invitation. She's made it crystal clear. The week before the wedding, your bride calls you and she's completely freaking out because her sister is insisting on bringing, you know, her 7-year-old who really wants to be at her wedding.
Oh God, I've run into this.
What advice do you give? How do you navigate through that one?
So here's the thing, is that I think that, you know, one of the things that I talk to my couples a lot about is having a third person in the conversation, meaning me, the wedding planner, right? Because that third person doesn't have an emotional attachment to the rest of the family. And I say that brides get their buttons pushed all the time because the parents installed them. Where do you think those buttons came from? Your parents and your brothers and your sisters installed those buttons so they know right where they are to push them. And so when it comes to them, things like when we're talking about kids, they know what buttons to push in order to get their way, which is why then you have a wedding planner that steps in and becomes your advocate in these kind of conversations. And then it's my job to then reach out to the sister explain the situation. And typically I explain it like this. It's like, look, we have a lot of people coming to the wedding. You're not going to know who all of them are. Would you take your 7-year-old into a bar? Because that's really what we're talking about. We're really talking about you. And yes, it's a wedding. Yes, it's like, but there's going to be people there that are on the groom's side that you know nothing about. You know nothing of their history. You know nothing about them. So you really need to think about, would I bring my 7-year-old to a wedding? And the other thing is that you got to stick to your guns on all of it. So in other words, you can't have a flower girl that walks down the aisle that then is allowed to come to the wedding because they were the flower girl. No, 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 no. Either you have no kids at all, or you have kids. There's not a middle ground. There's not, these two because they were my ring bearer and my flower girl. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to be black
Stick
or
to
white
your
when it
guns.
comes to this. Yeah, stick to your guns. But again, get your wedding planner involved, because a lot of times there's going to be, I don't have an emotional connection with the sister. I'm probably going to be able to state it in a much different way to her that she goes, okay, I get it, Or you might want to say, that 7-year-old's going to have the worst time of their life. Why would you bring a 7-year-old to an adult party? They're not going to have anybody to play with. They really want to color. They want to be on there. Let's talk about a babysitter. Let's talk about a kids room that's adjacent to the ballroom. So that way you cover a couple of things. So there's some options here.
We all know as planners that no matter how fastidious we plan or what happens, there is always something unpredictable. And we could probably, create 5 hours of stand-up material just
100%.
Just from those experiences.
Yeah.
What has been the craziest unpredictable thing that has happened to you on wedding day?
Wow. Okay, so I have to pick one?
Yes.
There's so many. Okay, so I'm going to talk in generalities because I don't want to, and luckily I've got 20 years of planning under my belt. So, that's a lot of weddings. So this could be anybody's wedding, FYI. The one that stands out immediately is that I had an officiant that was a friend of the couple, right? But was also a professional officiant, right? That was going through a divorce. Super fun. And so, yes. Oh, yes. And so he was a little bitter, and you could tell that there was a little bit of bitterness while he was doing the ceremony, but it was fine. It was okay. We moved on. And I should add that one side of the family was from the Orient. And so they're very proper, very, polite, they're not, they don't express themselves physically. And then the other side was American, right? And so at the wedding, at the reception, the officiant ended up getting drunk and literally grabbing the maid of honor and French kissed her, basically, on the dance floor.
Well, was he cute?
No. No. And you know what?
So
and
sorry for that maid of honor.
Exactly. And of course, immediately, and I had to give it up to the Hyatt Regency staff, because this was when Hyatt Regency was still, and we were in the Pier Top. The staff was amazing, because all I had to do was snap my fingers and point, and he was pulled out of there. And then, of course, I had to make sure the maid of honor was fine and what have you. But I will tell you that I've never hired that officiant again, ever. Not even on my list. And
listen,
because
you know, wedding goes rogue when the officiant gets drunk and starts hanging out with the wedding party.
I know. And you know what's funny is that there's a couple of people watching that are like, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that one would be probably easy to identify.
Well, and we've all had the violinist that didn't show up. I've had an officiant not show up, which is why I'm actually an officiant. I'm an actual, I have a Church of Life, I'm just saying. And then I stepped in and was the officiant, because the officiant actually ended up being in a car accident right before the wedding. And so I stepped in as the officiant. But again, we're talking about wedding planners here in South Florida. That's our job, is to put out those fires as quickly as they come. And so I knew a long time ago that I needed to be, and by the way, Florida has the easiest wedding laws in the country. I mean, basically, you could go down the street and become a reverend at some fly by night and be able to do a wedding tomorrow. So, it's not hard.
Florida.
Yeah, it's not hard.
You can go down the street and hang a sign and say you're a plastic surgeon.
Yes. Yes. Well, you can be a dentist actually and do plastic surgery in Florida. That's scary.
So we've all heard it here. If you're in a pinch and you need a wedding officiant, call Keith Willard.
Exactly. So, but that's part of what we do. This is part of the love and joy that we have of what we do in this world. It's cool.
100%. The things that we'll do to keep our clients happy. I mean, again, I could come up with a pretty entertaining list.
And honestly, where else, what other job can we have that we get to have this kind of effect on somebody's life forever? I mean, I am still friends with almost every single bride that I've married over the last 2 decades. And I mean, there'll be times that we'll be walking down the sidewalk and there'll be a pizza shop or something, and the whole family will scream out, Keith, oh my God, and it's hugs and kisses. Well, I guess now it's elbows, but before it was hugs and kisses and all that joy, because you made a difference in their life. Yeah. And I there's just something really incredible and rewarding about what we do, to say, I've made a difference in this person's life. And it should go to say, I believe that every wedding you get one chance. I think that sometimes in our community it gets a little jaded because we do 1 million weddings. Well, no, we don't do 1 million weddings. We do one wedding, and that's our focus. Our job is to make sure that day is perfect every single time.
You are so right, though. I literally have goosebumps, but there is something so incredibly heartwarming.
Yeah.
That that you're an integral part of one of the top 3 days in a person's life. I mean, you're part of their fairy tale, so no pressure.
Well, and they say us and bars, right? Births, weddings, deaths. Ta-da. Here we are.
Here we are. Gee, that's Keith. You know what? I'm so sorry. When you first came on, I was so excited about it being your birthday that I completely did skip over my bio on you, and the fact that you worked for the Ritz-Carlton, you've been in hospitality forever, everybody, you've had your own business for over 4 years.
Well, this is the latest business. I had a previous business also for, I think, five or 6 years in my 20s, but that's in your 20s. We all have our 20s anyway. But and then when I moved to South Florida, I went through kind of a midlife crisis, to be honest, and I thought, I'm out of this business. I'm going to go wait tables and I'm going to go hang out at the beach, damn it. And it didn't take long for, I think it was Halloween actually, and it was for Hamburger Mary's. If anybody remembers Hamburger Mary's. Anyway, there was a Halloween party, and so of course I jumped in and started decorating. And within a couple of months, I was their manager over events. So you just get sucked back in. So it doesn't matter.
Back in.
Doesn't matter.
Unless for me, where you have the best of both worlds, where I can still, be the associate publisher of this fabulous weddings publication, but I still have the benefit of planning and pretending. I'm an.
You don't pretend. No. You don't pretend. There's a heart and soul to somebody that does what we do. You have it 100% of the time. So we're a unique breed. We really are in this community, and you really have to love what we do in order to do it. Nobody does it because of the money. I guarantee you that. Nobody does it for the money.
No.
Because if you broke it down by hours, we probably all made 50 cents an hour. That's, but we do it because we love it. And if we're also able to support our life, awesome. That means we've really succeeded in this life. And so anyway, sorry, back to my upbringing. So I started with Hyatt Regency. So I was an event planner before. I was actually an executive director of a not-for-profit randomly when I was 22. And the best way to raise money for a not-for-profit is to throw a party. And so that's where I kind of cut my teeth on doing events. And then when I moved to Fort Lauderdale through friends and some acquaintances and some, all that stuff that happens here in Florida, because, you know, nobody's a stranger here in South Florida. We're a super small community. I started as a catering manager at Hyatt Pier 66, and I found it really incredibly interesting. Shout out to Scott Schaefer, who was the director of catering at that time. And then I worked my way up to director of catering at Ritz-Carlton. And Scott Schaefer is now director of catering at Ritz-Carlton, Key Biscayne, or sorry, director of events at Key Biscayne and Coconut Grove. But again, now I know that hotel side of it, and so it was easy. It was a great learning experience to be able to do an event at a location and be able to balance the idea that a hotel has, you know, the food costs. There's all sorts of budget needs that are happening on the hotel side, and labor issues. And being a planner that knows that side means that I'm better able to plan those logistics to make sure that event is perfect every single time.
100%. So
that was a lot of talking. Sorry.
Comments, happy birthday, Keith. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Dawn is the best in the business. Happy birthday. Thank you, Alexis. I had to get that in there.
You are the best.
No, I'm just,
yes.
I'm being typical Dawn. And
no.
Again, typical Dawn would normally sing happy birthday to you, but I guarantee I would lose my job.
You already did.
At least take away that they'd at least take away this.
I'm just saying, no, what you already sang happy birthday to me privately, so that was very sweet. You really did. It was awesome. It was awesome. So, and I think you sound much better than you think, by the way. I'm just saying. I'm just going to put that out there.
How much tequila have you had? So I can't wait, Keith, until you and I can get together in person and have our, you know, we both
our
the
thing.
Tequila. I'm glad you're with your mom. What a better way to spend your.
Could I be honestly? Could I be any gayer? Could I be any gayer? Honestly, I'm like this.
No, you have Minnie and Mickey Mouse above your head.
I was about to say. I mean, if you said but if you said typical gay planner, is he at Disney with his mom? Of course he is. Of course he is. No, my mom. I love my mom. Is she in the room? Can you pull her over? No, we have separate rooms. Please, anytime you're over 30, you need separate rooms. Yeah.
Oh, I did not mean you were sharing. I just thought maybe your mom was supporting your
she's
Talk Live, and I don't know, holding cards or something.
Oh no. Look, as I look around, no. But no, my mom is amazing. My mom moved here from Germany at the age of 16, not knowing the language. She now has her engineering degree and law degree. She speaks 5 languages. She's brilliant.
Go Mom.
And then you have your child that is all love and joy and like not for profit and planning pretty things.
I know overachieving moms can be a little annoying like that, but
I know, but she's amazing. She really is. I couldn't have asked for a better mom. Seriously, I couldn't. She's incredible and somebody to look up to every day.
Well, she raised an amazing son. We absolutely adore you. The entire Modern Luxury family adores you. We appreciate your support. And oh my gosh, you were featured in the fall-winter publication.
I know.
So you know, we're a big fan. You do amazing work. I'm so grateful that you chose to spend your birthday with us. I want you to go enjoy the rest of your evening.
I did, and honestly, I can't say enough about Modern Luxury Magazine. You guys have done a brilliant job. I mean, and honestly, and I'm going to give out a shout out to Behind the Veil show. Also, we do a week. That's all right. And I wanted to make sure I included it. That's so funny, but because every Tuesday we do a show called Behind the Veil, and we talk to different experts and about weddings and wedding planning, and so and now we're a podcast. What? How'd that happen?
Amazing.
I know. So Behind the Veil is every Tuesday. Come and join us. I'm not this fun on it because I'm you. I have to be the interviewer and I have to steer the conversation with crazy people like me. So,
you don't change. Your personality doesn't change and you are every bit as much fun. But again, Behind the Veil every Tuesday.
At 2.
Talk Live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. except for last Wednesday because I got sick. But thank you so very much. Again, make sure to tell all your friends to follow us at ML South Florida Weddings. And happy birthday.
Thank you. And Don, you're amazing. And I thank you and Modern Luxury. I can't thank you guys enough. Seriously, you guys have made a huge difference difference in the South Florida community, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the next year.
Oh, me either, Keith. I'm going to go cry now. See you
Yay!
then.
Mwah.
Peace out.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.